I met Andy 30 years ago. We shared a love of skiing, actually, and I was a college student on break, and he was looking to go skiing for the day, and I said, sure, I'll go. He loved getting everybody together. He loved entertaining and, hosting dinners and cooking. He would always say, the way to everybody's heart is through their stomach. But the rest was history. We had a wonderful life together.
Andy was a very unique individual. I think what made Andy so endearing was he had the ability to make everyone feel special. He made everyone feel like they were his friend and you were his friend. It's a very unique skill set that Andy had, and I think that's what made him so special.
I had known Andy for decades, literally decades. The fathers were friendly, and he was a humorous guy. He had a heart of gold. I don't think I ever heard him say a negative thing about anybody. His generosity was unbelievable.
So for me, Andy was about tenacity. His human spirit was just absolutely amazing, and his ability to connect with people and his love of community. He really, really was a very, very special individual. One day, Margaret said to me, Andy Yee's on the phone. Listen, I want to let you know that Peter Picknelly and I want to deliver box lunches to the entire medical center. We're going to come in a Peter Pan bus, and we want you to know that Mercy Medical Center will be our first stop.
Andy had just an irrepressible energy, just enormous gratitude for every day that he had, enormous joy with life, and you couldn't help but gravitate to him, right? You kind of wanted to be part of his universe because you could tell this guy just loves being alive.
It's interesting because I was there at the beginning of this journey with him, and I was there at the end. And so literally we fly down to Walt Disney World. First day we're there, he didn't feel quite right. He went back to the room. He took a nap, and then the next day, as we were out and about, he really slowed down in the afternoon. I said, "What's the matter with you?" "Not feeling right. Something's not right. I gotta go back and rest again." And I say that was really the beginning of all of this, because it was shortly thereafter that some of the diagnosis had come.
I think it was kind of when Andy was first diagnosed, it was a complete shock, because Andy really had never been ill or sick in his entire life. And I can remember getting that initial diagnosis, and the doctor at the time had suggested some names of oncologists that Andy could possibly see, and right away he said, "Well, what about Phil Glenn?" Because he had developed a relationship with Dr. Glenn from the student Prince, and he reached out to Dr. Glenn, and we came in, we met with Dr. Glenn. We were terrified. We had no idea what to expect, and he really set the stage for what was going to be our journey.
What amazed me and inspired me really is even when he knew he had a terminal illness, even when his treatment options were dwindling, he never lost that. He never lost the ability to ask somebody else how their day was going and then get into a conversation about their day, no matter how bad his was going.
But I don't think people knew how long Andy suffered with cancer. He really was a fighter, and he suffered with this disease for years. He would always tell me how wonderful the care was right here at Mercy Medical Center. He always told me how important this place was to Andy and to his care. We are so blessed in our community to have this hospital right here in our backyard. So I'm positive, because of Andy's personality and great attitude and very positive, plus the care that he got here at Mercy Medical, that his life was extended by years. And I'm really grateful for that.
I was in Nashville, Tennessee a Republican Governors Association event, and Charlie Baker was there. Sarah had called me and had called the governor and had said, you know, you guys got to come now, this is it. And told me how important I was to him and what our friendship meant, and went through all of that. And it was the last time I actually ever spoke with him. And he knew it was coming. And it was kind of like, you know, I love you, what we've had together as friends has been incredible. And that was it. That was the last time. An hour and a half after I leave here, I get the call that he's gone. And Sarah called me shortly thereafter, and he said, you know what, you were the last person to see him before he passed. And she said he waited. He waited. There was people that were coming through to say their final goodbyes, and he waited because you were the last guy they wanted to see.
I will tell you, at one point, he and I were talking about a large celebration post the pandemic with all the staff, and he was going to have a band, and he was going to bring the food. And we ended up celebrating his life in a different way with that palliative care unit, and how unique that we're going to be able to help those patients and families in a very, very specialized way. And that's his legacy, and that's how he has and will continue to give back.
And you know, I had this discussion with Sarah after Andy died, that Andy got more than people usually get. Because he was Andy Yee and because he had done so much for everybody around here, people wanted to walk an extra mile. And Sarah's attitude was, let's try and do that for more people. So palliative care certainly can include people who are in hospice, but it can also include anybody who has a serious illness. So if you think about improving symptoms, that's palliative care, and it doesn't necessarily have to be at the end of life. It can incorporate anybody who has a serious illness.
You know, I knew that Andy was, and as was I, eternally grateful for the care that he received here. We did, Dr. Glenn was wonderful, and Andy always said that, that these people are angels on earth. When Andy passed, I knew that he always talked about legacy, and he always talked about being good to people, and that people will be good back to you. And I just felt it was so important for me to be able to give back in Andy's memory and in his name. And the idea with the palliative care unit came because, I think so many families who are faced with a loved one who has a terminal illness, you try not to think of those final days, but it's inevitable. And I think in my mind, I just always wanted Andy to be in a comfortable, peaceful environment. And I talked to Dr. Glenn about, what do you think would be in the best interest of other families?
Right, shortly after he passed, Sarah and I had a conversation, and there was some thought or some talk about wanting to do something as a living memorial to who he was, and also, became knowledgeable about the fact that the kind of very specialized services and family support that is needed at a very difficult time for a family when a loved one is passing, that those were pretty non-existent in the city. And then, having spoken to Dr. Glenn, and Deb and so many others, the decision was made to kind of go in this direction.
Okay, what this is going to mean for patients and families is there will be a resource-rich unit where there are people that are doing discharge planning, people that are spiritual counselors, people that will have time to talk about goals of therapy, people that will have talk about what services need to be created at home, nursing services or hospice, whatever it may be. But in addition, the unit is going to be designed to be very family friendly. They'll have there's going to be a family room where families can congregate outside of the patient room. That's going to be a very nice space. We're also going to have space for physician-family counseling. So I think it's going to provide more efficient care, more effective care, and really give families probably a lot more comfort when they are taking somebody home who's got a serious condition.
This is Andy. He always said, go big or go home. I think he would be a little embarrassed about all the bravado but deep down inside, he would love it. He would faint like, oh my God, I can't believe all this is being done in my name, but he would love this.
You know, understanding that this care unit will give comfort to so many people, I think Andy would be very proud to have his name associated with that. You know, so that is kind of a legacy. I mean, Andy made people feel welcome. He made them feel comfortable. And I think that's what this unit will do for so many individuals and for so many families. I think it's a great asset to our community. What could be more important than helping an individual that are having such a difficult time in their lives and families that are trying to take care of a loved one? It's important. It deserves our attention. It deserves our philanthropy, in my view. We need everyone's help to get this over the finish line. This will be a great part of our community. It'll help so many people, help so many families. Please contribute.